What that music means, y'all. It's time for another live stream here on the Zack Goller channel. I am so happy to welcome back my friend Jacob Hubbard over here, and he is throwing out the Spider-Man. So I have a question for you. Is it organic web shooters, or is it like, did you create them in a lab? Or are you just
I feel like the comic book nerds are gonna say you made it in a lab, but I'm gonna say they come from my body.
ugh, the Mark Webb movie aficionados out there saying, "Yeah, we
Hmm.
created the web shooters in a lab. They're just mechanical." But yeah, you guys see the thumbnail, you guys see the title of this video, and y'all know how rankings work. I don't think I need to dig any deeper into it, but thanks to everybody for watching the replay. Those of you watching live, also, I see you in the chat, by the way. Adrian Diaz, good to see you. 80s kid from the 90s, of course. You have Luke Ponto, ready to talk about some Spider-Man with you too, also. Across the Spider-Verse, a lot of love in here. And that's partially the reason why I wanted to make this video, because I knew that Across the Spider-Verse was going to be an even 10 Spider-Man movies. And I was like, this is the perfect time to do it. It's a perfect time to do it.
I say we're not counting Morbius or the Venom movies, people.
No,
No.
No, yeah, and anybody who's expecting us to trash Venom, Venom 2, or Morbius, we all have reviews on our channel. Just go and watch those, and we'll just rip them new ones. But anyway, that's not what this stream is about. I, by the way, have left a link to Jacob Hubbard's channel in the description box below. Go ahead and give him a subscribe because he deserves it. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel as well, and hit that thumbs up if you enjoy what you hear on this little podcast here that we're about to get into
A
about
podcast.
all things Spider-Man and all that good stuff. Yeah, so I think we've had a good month to sit on Across the Spider-Verse. It's been available in theaters for a solid month now. I've seen it twice, and it's freaking awesome. I don't know if I'm ready to call it a masterpiece yet, just because I think a month is too soon, but it's damn good, man. And it's going to be interesting to see where it goes on this list. Ryan O'Toole. Good to see Ryan
Oh,
O'Toole here.
Ryan O'Toole.
Ryan O'Toole is here. Oh my goodness. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for stopping by. It's going to be a lot of fun over here. Hope you're doing well, brother. Miss you. But yeah, do you want to just go ahead and dig right down into the dirty business and everything like that, Jacob?
I do have one question. Also, if you hear construction behind it's because there's construction happening in my house. I'm sorry, but I have one
Literally.
question, Zach.
Yeah.
Before we get into the movies, where would you put Spider-Man's character in your favorite superheroes? Like, is he your
Ooh.
favorite? Is he your
Ooh.
second? Like, where would you put Spider-Man?
Bro, oh man, that's a great question to lead off with. But most of you who've been with me for a while now, you know that Spider-Man is special to me. I grew up on the Sam Raimi trilogy, and I don't know if my list is going to be the best one to go off of because there may be some Raimi bias in here. But
Yes.
I will say, to answer your question in short, Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel hero. And I wouldn't
Okay.
say he's my favorite all time. That would go to the Batman and Robert Pattinson. But
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
Spider-Man, yeah, he's in terms of Marvel, he's where it's at. I think he's got the most compelling story. He's got the most compelling rogue gallery. I think a lot of his action is just freaking high octane and awesome. But how about you? Where does he sit for you?
I'm kind of in the same boat, but before I say that, I also want to just throw a shout out to Isaac King in the chat, the greatest person out there in the history of people's. Isaac King, love you, my
Isaac.
guy.
Yeah.
He's great, love him.
What's up, Isaac King? Good to see you, my friend. It's going to be a fun time talking about some Spider-Man over here. Got to say hello to Lindsay as well. How are you
That.
doing?
And you
Of
gotta say
course.
hi to Lindsay.
Of course. Got to shout out Lindsay, of course. I saw Across the Spider-Verse with her actually for the second time, and she claimed that the ending was mean because it's a cliffhanger. But I mean, I expected it. I expected the cliffhanger even when I watched it the first time, because if you look at the initial teaser trailer, it called it Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
Yep.
And Sony was smart enough to take the Part 1 off the subtitle. And can't really say the same for Mission Impossible right now, all due respect. I know there's going to be a cliffhanger there, but got to say what's up to Ethan Reuter in the chat also. He says No Way Home is his favorite, giving some love to the MCU. Lindsay used to not like Spider-Man, totally missed out. I think I still have to watch Amazing Spider-Man 2. Oh God. Um,
Mm-mm.
we'll, we'll we'll get into that. We'll get into that. But you were talking about how much Spider-Man meant to you, Jacob. Do you think he's the best of the best?
So here's my thing. It's like I appreciate the more realistic versions of Batman because Spider-Man is a like a hero with spider web coming out of him, or if you want to get more into the Mark Webb movies of like actually building it, whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
but growing up, like I was Spider-Man around the house. I was crawling on the walls. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt I've had for like years of
There
Spider-Man.
you go.
So man, it's just like I love the Batman character, but my heart is Spider-Man. So,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like you said, there's gonna be a few bias in this video, and it's just a ranking. It's okay, people. We're gonna have disagreements. Me and
Mm-hmm.
Zach, we don't know each other's list. I have no idea what Zach's gonna say for number one. I have a prediction, but I don't have
Yeah.
his. I don't know. So
We got it's clearly this is going to be a case of a big theme of this podcast, my friends, this live stream, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to classify it as, different strokes for different folks. And I'm so glad that everybody is leaving their rankings in the comments already. If you're watching the replay, leave your rankings of the Spider-Man movies as well, because Jacob and I would absolutely love to know and compare and contrast. And we'd
I
like to hear
really
your
do.
opinions as well, because it's going to be an interesting time over here. Luke says Across the Spider-Verse is his favorite. Ethan Reuter, more love for No Way Home in the comments here. Lindsay said that was rude right after Across the Spider-Verse ended. Yes, I remember that. I remember that vividly. And I was like, so what'd you think? And she was like, that was rude. But yeah, anyway. Ryan said Across the Spider-Verse. Lots of love for the most recent Spider-Man movie. But yeah, Jacob, you ready to get into it?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for everyone to hate me.
Oh. I'm ready for the chat to just like lambast me, and I'm ready for the comment section to lambast me. But number 10, obviously, you know how rankings work on my channel. If you've been with me since the beginning, the guest always goes first. But I feel like I know what this is, Jacob. I have to, like, it has to be what it is. It has to be what I think it is, right?
I mean, I agree with you, but let me just say it. People out there love this movie. So let me just say, I can see why. I just personally think number 10, if you want to say it together, 3, 2, 1, it's The
The
Amazing
Amazing
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
2.
2. Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely the worst of the worst. Yeah,
It
there was
is.
it was probably the most predictable outcome of this video for sure, just to get that out of the way. But oh boy, let's rip this movie to shreds for a bit.
I did this in my reviews, so I'm gonna say it now. I'm gonna say the positives. First things first. Andrew Garfield is a very good Spider-Man. Peter Parker,
Mm-hmm.
nah, but Spider-Man, I mean, his presence in the movie is so energetic, and it's due to his performance. Also, with him and Emma Stone, obviously in 2014, apparently they were dating,
They
so
were.
the on-screen chemistry is so good. And obviously, I feel like everyone would hate me if I didn't bring it up. The movie has some of the most amazing live action Spider-Man swinging through the city scenes we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's definitely a very colorful movie. Even on a rewatch, movie looks great on Blu-ray, and I gotta commend Sony for actually putting together what was at the time my favorite Spider-Man suit out of all of them. I mean, that was something they did not get right in the original Amazing Spider-Man, but this time the eyepieces are nice and gigantic. The suit is a lot more colorful. It doesn't look like a freaking basketball, but it's fantastic, fantastic. And I love the fact that you see Electro in live action form, played here by Jamie Foxx. But I mean, again, that's he certainly redeemed in a later entry. That's for darn sure.
But I can say this: the people that love Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's weird because I remember when this franchise got rebooted with 2012's Amazing Spider-Man, and so they said an untold story, which we'll talk more about that first one pretty
Oh
soon for
God,
me. But
yeah,
I will say, with the second movie, they could have done so much, but they decided to add Rhino, the Green Goblin, Electro, oh, and we're gonna show the entire backstory of his scientific dad, and the movie is so cluttered. And not to say this, even though this was back in 2014, every trailer showed the entire movie.
Yeah, the marketing for this movie was absolutely terrible. They were teasing the formation of the Sinister Six also, which is part of my big issue. They were more concerned about building towards the future without focusing on the now. And
Yes.
the fact that they were looking like the fact that these people were so convinced that this movie was going to draw as much as they thought they would, and it ended up freaking bombing to my recollection. Um that's the big issue. They were trying to sell the audience on something, and it's something that's never going to be followed up on because the audience didn't want to see anymore. And it's it's unfortunate. It is absolutely unfortunate. But you mentioned the Green Goblin finally getting introduced into this universe. He is
Oh
played here
my
by
god.
Dane DeHaan very poorly. He's,
Yes.
it's if you want to talk about a long runtime, I think his dialogue is.
Um, Oscorp, I need your blood, Spider-Man, because
I-
I have a virus because my dad just got it. And it took him 50 years to die. But guess what? It's in me right now, and I'm getting ready to die. Like, come on.
Enough said. Enough said. I didn't even need to say that he was very slow and methodical. I have this disease that's not even cancer, but I'm gonna say it is, but it's killing me soon, Peter. Ugh, Peter. It's like the delivery of I don't know if it was like a direction flaw or a performance flaw or a miscommunication or what have you, but I feel like a good portion of the long runtime is because of Dane DeHaan's performance. Like, he's great in everything else he's in, but as Harry
Everything.
Osborn, it just doesn't work. It
Nope.
absolutely does not work.
It does
And can
not.
we also talk about the fact that Jamie Foxx is trying his best, but it's so abundantly clear that this is just the Riddler in Batman Forever. Like,
I've heard that comparison before, actually. Now you say that, I've heard that before.
it's the exact same character. Like, no joke, with even worse CGI. Like, even like talking about a 2014 film. They he's injected with all this electricity, and Jamie Foxx, as a lot of you are aware, has a gap in his teeth. The electricity fixes the gap.
Zip. That's what
It
it
was
does.
like it was like a jolt of orthodontics, and it's like, his teeth are picture perfect now. Like, way too many problems. And Paul Giamatti is very heinously
That's his whole performance.
yeah, he's
That's
not
his
even.
entire performance.
I didn't even time it, but he wasn't even in the movie 5 minutes, was he?
I mean, you have the opening chase scene, which obviously he's not really in the truck, but when you get frames of him, then you add in the last 2 minutes of the movie with the CGI Rhino. I mean, yeah, he's probably in it he's definitely in it less than 10 minutes. Like, and they market him like there's like, we have the Rhino.
We have Paul Giamatti, and then fans of his are gonna feel pretty gypped, and the fact that like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, like, and you mentioned this, it is very clear that this guy is a huge fan of this character, just like we were, and I'm sure he was pumped out of his mind when he got the call. But here, this whole first action sequence with the Rhino makes him so freaking unlikable because he decides, okay, instead of saving all these citizens, I'm going to tell some jokes. I'm going to make sure the Rhino feels really crummy about himself. And then he decides to not save all these civilians, and there's a bunch of casualties because of him. I mean, at least the Flash got it right when Ezra Miller was going to save a bunch of babies that were falling out of a hospital. At least he saved them. At least the Flash saved them.
He did. He saved those CGI babies, man. They were fantastic.
Oh. Yeah, you can tell they were CGI because
that's what they looked like.
there is absolutely no way that they would put a real baby in a microwave like that.
Hell no.
Absolutely no way. That's like completely against any morals that the film industry could have. But don't you know I'm Electro?
I will
I
say another thing about Amazing Spider-Man 2 that I do like, since again, people defend this movie, and like I don't fully get it, but hey, you know what? You like what you like. But the thing is, I really liked that they killed Gwen Stacy. Like they
Me
did it.
too.
They
Me
did
too.
do it because it was one of those things where like super big studios, they're like, oh, we have Emma Stone. That's a big star. And they said, hey, we're gonna follow the character and we're gonna kill her. And
Mhm.
it's a great moment. Well, it's a sad moment because snaps her neck, goes down there, cries.
It's
But
brutal.
I will say this moment is so important. Obviously, when we talk about No Way Home, then we'll talk about how like important that little scene in that is just beautiful now.
Yeah, it's a full circle moment right there. And
Mhm.
No Way Home completely salvages whatever greatness this movie could have had. And it's a very minute amount. But actually killing off Gwen Stacy, great in concept. But again, in execution, why was Gwen Stacy there? You know?
I want to help, Peter. I want to help. I'm going to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, because like these are written by people who are trying to placate the people that did not like the Sam Raimi movies. And then they're just basically saying, "Oh yeah, you didn't like Mary Jane? Gwen Stacy's going to be a badass." Yeah, she's supposed to be the valedictorian of her class, and here she is as Electro is flying through New York City. She's grasping metal bars.
No.
Perfect. Yeah, great idea. Great idea.
Either way, I will say Amazing Spider-Man 2 for what it
Uh,
was back in 2014, it it's a movie that has potential. It has a great director, has great actors. The movie looks very good on Blu-ray, but it's just the script. It's just there's so much happening and the characters don't get to breathe. The whole movie's moving at a 2 hours and 22-minute pace. And so
mhm.
at the very end, you're sitting there saying, so this movie's setting up Sinister Six. All right, cool. And then Sony said, "Eh-eh."
Nope. Nope. This movie didn't make enough to make us want to make the Sinister Six, so we're just gonna give up on it. So Gwen's death is the only scene Luke liked out of the entire movie, Jacob.
I mean, it's the best scene.
It
It,
absolutely the best scene. There's no question about it. No question. But yeah. This freaking movie. But anyhow, this thing I mean, this is at least it's the worst it's gonna get. At least it's the worst it's gonna get. It'll upward
okay,
from here.
okay.
But
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people are gonna say differently. But we can move to number 9, and I'm definitely intrigued to hear what you number 9 is.
all right, what you got?
You want me to go first? I went first.
Yes, sir.
We
Yes,
went
sir.
both, so I guess that counts.
Yeah. You're the guest. You go first.
All right. Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about the 2014 Spider-Man, my number 9 is the 2012 Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man.
That's mine. That's mine.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I would, yeah, you can hate us all you want, but I don't know if I can speak for Jacob. I would rather rewatch Spider Man 3 over this movie any day of the week.
Yes.
Any day. Any day. I don't care how messy Spider Man 3 is, and we'll talk about it, but this movie is so much worse. It's so much worse because they were going into it claiming this is the untold story,
Yes.
and they're like, we're
Yes.
trying so hard to make this look like the Dark Knight because this is so freaking influential, right? It's going to change the game. But Spider-Man is not Batman. Spider-Man is Spider-Man. You're trying to make him look like, okay, we're going to make this look like a more sophisticated version of what Sam Raimi did. But at the same time, Spider-Man's such a colorful character that it just doesn't work as well in the tone. But,
I remember back in 2012, just like you said, the marketing, the untold story, the next generation of Spider-Man, and I was like, man, we like in 2007 we just finished Spider-Man 3. So 5 years and they're rebooting it. So I was already all right, let's see what they can do. And they marketed Untold Story, and The Dark Knight was such a dark movie, so we need all of our superhero movies to be dark. And you look seriously, anyone out there, go watch Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2 has blue skies, bright colors. It just looks better. And then
mm-hmm.
in Amazing Spider-Man 1, it's gray. Peter Parker is like a skater boy teenager.
Yeah, what
He's
is that about? What
yeah,
is that about? Peter Parker, like with that one move, Jacob, with that one move, they took away all the dorky charm that Spider-Man has in the comics.
exactly.
They took it all away. And they're like, "Oh, no, Spider-Man's actually a punk. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to like skateboard through the hallways." And it's one thing to have a spider punk character in the Across the Spider-Verse film, but that can be played for a laugh. But
Yes.
when he's the main character in the movie and you're trying to like present this as the Spider-Man story, it's not going to fly. It's absolutely not going to fly. But again, Andrew Garfield as this character, you got to give him credit, you know, because he absolutely loves playing the part. And it's very clear that once we talk about No Way Home, he adores a bit of this. And I'm sure he's so happy to take any part in any Spider-Man project. Like No Way Home made me want to see The Amazing Spider-Man 3. These two movies do not make me want to see an Amazing Spider-Man 3.
I was actually going to bring that up. A lot of people want Amazing Spider-Man 3, but honestly, I don't. Like, I do not want to see a move forward with it. I would love to see what they do with his character if he comes back in any type of Marvel project, but I do not care to see a complete Amazing Spider-Man 3 solo movie.
Yeah.
Also,
It's
it depends what they're going to do with this whole new Venom Craven movie. We have
oh
Michael
god.
Keaton, and we don't know who is the Spider-Man in the Sony universe. Like, we don't know, like, for sure. So, like, maybe, but like, again, I'm not dying to see Andrew Garfield come back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like his whole character arc was redeemed once he caught MJ and No Way Home.
I
Like
agree.
that was it, you know. Like his story is finished. But oh, speaking of story, this story is a freaking mess, isn't it? The villain of this movie, his motivation is freaking all over the place
Mm,
because you know, so here's my big issue, right? He is basically he's an employee of Oscorp, and he
yes.
is basically tasked with finding a cure for this virus that we talked about with Harry Osborn, because Norman Osborn is dying. So here's the problem, though: you never meet Norman Osborn in this film, never see Chris Cooper on screen, but yet like, we're supposed to care about this. Yet you have the late Irfan Khan being like, yeah, no, you have to do this fast because Norman Osborn, he's an important character from the comics, and he's dying. So you got to make sure that, okay, you got to make sure that he gets the cure. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's
Oh, and to the story, this very important person who you never see in this movie, just let you know, he's very important. We need him to live. And then oh yeah, so let me become a mad scientist and let me just stick it in myself, and now we got the CGI lizard.
yep. And then his motivation suddenly becomes turn all of New York into lizards.
Woo!
Yay! It's like, okay, his story is finished, but you know, like a lot of his story, you know, he has a son and the scenes are deleted, so we can't really judge the movie off of deleted scenes. Like it's a
They would
mess.
have helped. They would have helped. Well, that's the crazy part. I've seen them before on YouTube, and they are like good little scenes about showing him his character. Now, imagine if that scene was in the movie. So you're like, okay, he has a son. We can semi look at him turning into a monster. That whole perspective of his son that can play with the story. And then, besides turning in New York into lizards, why not be like, okay, Oscorp threw me away. You know what? I'm coming after Oscorp, because the whole third act is set on the Oscorp building and everything. So why not
Yeah.
like see, like I just think the story could have been way more personal, but they were like, "Oh, generic. We want lizard people."
That's what we want, and we gotta warrant this guy still existing in this universe. And Ryan O'Toole pointed out, even Electro basically said how dumb his lizard plan was in No Way Home, and it's played for a joke. It's played for a joke. The MCU is basically making fun of it. Um, Bronson wants to know. Bronson, good to see you, by the way, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Who's your favorite Spider-Man villain, Jacob? He lists a couple of examples here, but doesn't have to be from this list. But who would you say is the all-time greatest Spider-Man villain?
Well, it's definitely not Topher Grace as Venom. If we ever saw Tom Hardy, I mean,
Ooh,
maybe. Okay, so I'm just looking at the
nope.
movies. I'm
Not
looking
Tom
at the
Hardy.
I'm looking at the movies. I'm not looking at comic books because I can't really. There's so many villains. I just can't name all of them. But like movie wise, man, I feel like I'm gonna give it to William Dafoe because he
Mhm.
did it in Spider-Man 1. He was fantastic. And then in No Way Home, he did become the main villain. And he just when you know what? Yeah, William Dafoe. If he gets 2 movies to
Yeah.
be a great villain, I'm going William Dafoe as the Green Goblin.
And if he knocks it out of the park both times, it's just, yeah. And Isaac was terrified by Willem Dafoe. So that is another key thing. Willem Dafoe could be nightmare inducing for someone like me who was 6 years old when Spider-Man from 2002 came out. Scary, but still so fun to watch.
I say
Think
that
about
scene
it.
that
Think
scene where
about
he
it,
becomes the
hero.
goblin and kills his assistant, he has his shirt off and he's like growling. Like as a kid, I was like,
Feels very much like a comic book. Got to say what's up to the Jay Schray Way. How are you doing, my friend? We're having a great time talking about Spider-Man so far. We are too deep. 80s kid from the 90s says Michael Keaton as the Vulture. That's a good villain for sure, with a great twist that we'll talk about when Homecoming comes around.
yes, we will.
Yeah. Oh, Luke says Doc Ock. Yeah, see, that's what's great about this is there's so many awesome villains in these movies. Like you can't really say the same about, the DCEU, and hell, I'll say it, even the early MCU, there weren't that many great villains that we could talk about, but Spider-Man across the board, there's a lot of great villains. Jake Gyllenhaal is Mysterio. He's one of my most underrated villains, I would
He
say,
is.
but
I would
love
say
him.
Sandman. I think in Sandman 3, I think he's a really good villain. Hell, people don't even see him as a villain because of what he's doing in the movie.
Sandman is so awesome, but
He is.
all right. Let's move on to number 8, my friend. What do you got? I think this is where the list could start to get a little bit interesting.
My palms are sweaty. Like I'm not ready to say. I'm not ready to say it, man.
Here we go.
Okay. So 10 and 9 for me were easy. I think Amazing Spider-Man. I think those movies just don't work. So my number 8 is going to be Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh. Okay,
So,
that's interesting. This is where we differ for the first time. Okay, let's talk about it.
So you want me to say my reasoning, then we'll hear your number 8?
Please.
So let me just say, Tom Holland, say what you want about him. He's a great Spider-Man. He's a great Peter Parker. He's a great actor. In this movie, taking the setting not being in New York, I'm fine with it. Taking Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Mysterio, even though a lot of people who know the character knew he was going to be the villain in the movie, once he becomes the villain, the movie to me is better. But before the sequence of him messing with Spider-Man, before that, the first half of this movie, I find it cringy. I find it boring. And I hate the scene where he puts on the glasses, Tony's glasses, and they're on the bus and the people are trying not to see stuff, like the machines after him, and he's jumping through the roof and just scenes like that. And like the scene where his pants are down and it's like a big joke. The first half of this movie to me is very cringeworthy to me. And when it deals with like Nick Fury coming and involving on his trip, whatever, it's an interesting aspect. But then again, it almost feels like, hey, here's the Marvel universe. It's not a Spider-Man story. It doesn't feel like a Spider-Man movie at times. It feels more of like a Marvel piece.
Yeah.
But once Jake Gyllenhaal in the bar scene puts on the glasses and says, that was easy, or whatever he says, from that point to the end of the movie, it's way entertaining. Jake Gyllenhaal gets to play along with the character. It feels more fun. There's great action, whatever. And I like the ending with him and Zendaya obviously learning about him being Spider-Man. I just find the movie overall very cringe in that first half.
I see what you're saying. By the way, in that scene where Jake Gyllenhaal says that was easy, puts on the glasses, his right-hand man, his right-hand schmo is played by Ralphie from A Christmas Story, grown-up Peter Billingsley. Fun fact. The more you know. Yeah, it's
I didn't even notice that.
yeah, that's Peter Billingsley. Yeah, absolutely. Vulture and Mysterio were Iron Man villains. I mean, maybe in Homecoming, he's a Iron Man villain because Iron Man's actually in it, and Iron Man's dead. Spoiler alert. But um, yeah, Mysterio I think is a great villain. Um, I love the second half of No Way Home for sure. I have it higher. I definitely have it
I
higher
mean, I
because
understand, man, but
mhm,
this is one of those movies I haven't watched in a while. And after all of what's happened in Marvel right now, I went back and watched a few of these, obviously for this video as well. And just watching that movie, man, I mean, again, that first half to me is very cringeworthy, and there are other stuff in other movies I'd rather watch. But once Jake Gyllenhaal becomes our villain, the movie just feels more fun, and it's just like the scene where Tom Holland is in like the machine in the ship with Happy, and he's like getting the suit ready and everything. Like that moment is so cool for the
it's
Spider-Man
beautiful,
character. Like it's
beautiful.
so cool. So
Mhm.
that's my thing with the movie. It just to me at times it feels more like a Marvel piece than a Spider-Man movie.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, this is how I feel about Homecoming, Ryan says. Yeah. We'll get to Homecoming. We'll get to Homecoming. I'm not there yet, but um objectively speaking, Far From Home I think is a better movie than this next entry on my list. This is where Spider-Man 3 falls for me. Just because I I have a lot of fun with it, but there's just way too much stupid crap in this movie to really say that, oh, this is like upper tier Spider-Man movie. This is the one I want to rewatch. And I feel like with what they advertised with the symbiote latching itself onto Peter Parker's suit, they just got it all so wrong. I just think if back in 2007, if you were to do this like almost in a thriller aspect, like almost, I would have liked to see this movie shot in black and white. This would have been pretty cool, pretty revolutionary. This is the director of Evil Dead, for crying out loud. This is a guy that could have really put this idea like like the comics are so much more graphic than what's presented in
Ooh.
this movie. And also, I'll just say it. Topher Grace is so miscast.
He
They
is.
they were talking about Topher Grace in the chat right there, but the dude from that '70s show playing a tough badass, like
No, not Venom.
no, not Venom. Like, I mean, if you would like even put Thomas Hayden Church as Venom, that could have maybe worked. But I mean, he was a great Sandman. That was probably one of my favorite aspects of Spider-Man 3.
He is so good in the movie, and they
He
do a
is.
great job with his character, with his daughter.
Yeah, it's tragic. It's tragic. Yeah, and the fact that it was revealed that he was Uncle Ben's killer, to me, in hindsight, that does come off a little bit forced because, it was already revealed that, Uncle Ben's killer was, thrust out the window and then they're like, "Oh no, no, it wasn't actually that guy. It was him. It was him." Yeah. A big brute, Toby Maguire. Go fight him. But it's yeah, no, I love the look of the Sandman. I love the formation of the Sandman. I think it's such a haunting looking scene as
I
well.
do too.
It's a tragic scene. Like the score in the background is just oh, yeah, I love that. But I think the movie shoots itself in the foot once too often to really say that this is one of the best for me. Um dare we talk about any of the dancing stuff?
It, we can, but let me just say this. I think it's a moment in the movie that goes for that cheesy factor, which Spider Man 2 has, and everyone loves it.
Oh
So,
yeah.
in this, like, he's playing an emo version of Peter Parker, and
Right.
he's walking on the sidewalk. It's him dancing. It's him dancing. Oh, okay, imagine this. Imagine if they didn't have that song in the scene. Imagine if it was just him dancing. If they would have played for a joke. Would it have worked then? Is it because he's dancing? It's just because the cocky value and him being emo, and it comes out of nowhere after he defeats James Franco. Like it's a moment that's really like comes out of nowhere for the movie.
Yeah, yeah. The dancing really I don't want to say it grades on my nerves, but I just think, like I said, this is the director of The Evil Dead taking on the Spider-Man Venom storyline, the symbiote storyline. Um, and they go for comedy. They go for comedy with it, and I just think it was the wrong tone.
I do too.
And also, might I add, there's a lot going on in this movie. Like, if it was just focused on Spider-Man versus the Sandman, I would say, yeah, this is right up there. But it's the fact that the studio was forcing Sam Raimi to include Venom in this movie when he didn't want to do Venom. And
He did
like,
not.
it felt so incredibly rushed because the studio was hammering it down his throat.
If you
So,
watch the movie, you can tell like Venom comes in the third act. Like
mhm,
Venom is not a part of the movie. Yeah, he's on Spider-Man, but the thing is, the movie like focuses so much on Peter and Mary Jane and then obviously Sandman. Oh, and then obviously you have freaking James Franco losing his memory, which
mm,
I have issues with, but we'll get to it on my list. But the
yeah,
thing is, I think the movie has so much going on. This is why Amazing Spider-Man 2 is so bad to me because there's so much going on. I think I just like Spider-Man 3 more because it's a little darker. They have fun with the Venom character when he's available, like the scene where he's fighting Sandman in like the sewer train or like the train whatever. Like, that's such a like brutal scene when his voice changes. Good riddance. Like it's such like like I love that stuff.
it's cool.
None of that's in Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I agree with the clutterness. It's just it's different. Shut up, cat.
The cat making a cameo.
I'm going to let her out of my room, but go ahead, keep going. I'm gonna let her
No,
in my
fair
room.
enough. No, it's interesting that Sam Raimi is sitting here wanting Vulture, and the chat is talking a little bit about this. I, like if you added a second villain, see, here's my thing, guys.
Ah,
The thing that made the first and second Spider-Man movies that Sam Raimi did so freaking awesome. I mean, like amongst a bevy of other things, super simple story, super easy to follow, and it was one hero versus one villain. That's all you need. That's really all you need. Sure, you can have little side villains like Bonesaw McGraw here and there, and you can have your fun little wrestling matches, but
Bones
like,
already.
Bone, I got you for 3 minutes. Yeah.
3 minutes of meat time. Dude, I love that movie. I
Oh
love
god.
dude, we'll get to it. I love it.
Got a Macho Man Randy Savage pop up there. I should have pulled it out, but anyway. Yeah, so this movie has a lot going for it. And lest I mention Bryce Dallas Howard as Gwen Stacy, who feels so freaking like shoehorned in. Like, why do you need a love triangle? You already have one later on in the movie when James Franco basically says, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna kill Peter if yeah, I'm gonna kill Peter if you don't break up with him." And, like, didn't Mary Jane forget that Peter and Spider-Man are the same person? Like, why do you need to shoehorn force a love triangle plot element in there? But anyway, that might be
I,
just me.
I will say, Spider-Man 3, again, we'll talk about it again when it gets to me. I will say, I love Bruce Campbell's cameo.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
As the Mater D, like he's a Mater D in this one. Yeah, no, I keep getting the Mater D and the Ticket Taker mixed up, but I know the Ticket Taker is Spider-Man 2 now because it was like, oh yeah, one of the big plot elements was Peter being late again to Mary Jane's play, but that's a big joke in the Raimi movies. But Jay Shrey Way says Amazing Spider-Man 2 still has the best CGI out of all of these. Debatable, debatable.
I
Why?
disagree. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna disagree.
3 words. Jamie Foxx's teeth. Cocky emo Peter is a classic. Yeah, I think it would have been Isaac if they didn't play it for comedy. But
It is a great
uh,
meme.
yeah, it's a great meme. Not so great for the character, but in any case, moving on. Number 7.
Son of a bitch.
Here we go.
Can you go first?
Do you want me to go first? Do you want me to have this audience hate me?
Yeah, it's your turn. It's your turn.
I'll say it. Spider-Man: Homecoming.
That's mine. That's mine.
Okay.
That's mine.
He's relieved.
Oh,
Yeah, Spider-Man:
mine.
Homecoming is number 7. Let's talk about it.
Oh, thank you. I say I agree. My number 7 on my list. I didn't change it or anything. 8 is Far From Home. 7 is Homecoming.
Yeah, Homecoming. So, oh yeah, Jonah Jameson. Ryan says I forgot to mention him. We'll talk about him, but
we will.
So my thing with this movie, I really enjoyed it when I first watched it. I will never forget going on opening night on that Thursday night premiere, and everybody was so freaking jazzed to be there. And I see the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton in this movie, great villain as well. The plot twist that he is the father of Peter's love interest in this movie. When he opened that door,
My
the
crowd.
sounds of shock around me. I looked behind me, and the dude that was sitting there was like this is like I always get a kick out of this. I'll never forget. This is what I saw. He was like so freaking shocked. So like, and I was shocked.
I was.
It was insane. But the thing is, this movie, Spider-Man is still very much in the shadow of Tony Stark. That's honestly what holds this back for me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it that was my issue with Far From Home, where it feels like a Marvel piece. So when did this? Was it Homecoming? It was after Civil War. So
2017.
So yeah, the movie opens with Civil War. So right there, if 10 years from now, Zach, let's say you wanted to show your future kids Spider-Man movies, and let's say the first Spider-Man movie you showed them was Homecoming. Let's just say that. No, your kids would be like, "What is that from? What is that from? Who is Iron Man?"
Bingo.
Let's just, like, the story of Spider-Man for his first movie in the Marvel Universe should not be surrounded by a Marvel piece. It's not a good idea. It should have been way more a Peter Parker movie, which this movie does have. We'll get to certain scenes, but this movie with Iron Man, which, I mean, Robert Downey Jr., he's fantastic. We love him. We do. I mean, we do. But man, I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, Iron Man.
He's in it. We can't make a Marvel movie without Iron Man, right? Let's put him in Spider-Man.
Sure you can. They've been doing it for the past 4 years now.
Exactly.
And I think they're doing just fine. Say what you want about their box office numbers. I don't think they need to bring Robert Downey Jr. back in Secret Wars. That's a whole other rant for another time. I'm sure it's probably still going to happen to make it the biggest movie of all time, truly. But, I mean, I don't want it. Do you guys want it in the chat? I don't want it.
I'd rather see him do Oppenheimer. Let him do other movies. People, you realize Robert Downey Jr. is a very good actor. He's done a lot of stuff, not just Iron Man.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Homecoming that I think it has over a lot of the other Spider-Man movies we've already talked about, it's got a good grasp on the comedy. It's got a good sense of humor. I love how Ned finds out that Peter is Spider-Man because he just sees him crawling on the wall and the Death Star, Lego Death Star, just like falls to the ground in shock. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. The post-credit sequence of this movie also made me so upset in the moment because you have the it's like the physical education video with Captain America. And he walks into frame and he's like, "I'm here to teach you about a very important value that all Americans should strive to have. Patience."
Cuts the black.
Yep. Cuts the black. It's like definitely a troll moment right there. But anyhow, what'd you think of the villain in this movie?
I mean, you know me. Michael Keaton is actually a top 2, maybe my favorite actor. I think Michael Keaton is one of those actors. When he's in a movie, I just think he's just so good. I don't care what movie he's in. So for this movie, for him to be a villain, I like him, man. I like him a lot. He is before we reveal he's the father, he is pretty, I guess, generic. I do like how it shows him cleaning up the aftermath of the Avengers, and that's how he gets the suit. Like, that's how he develops it. I like the suit. I don't like the helmet. I'm not a big fan of the helmet. I like the wings. I like the ability of Vulture being on the big screen. But man, oh man, when we find out he's the dad, and the scene where Michael Keaton is in the car and his daughter gets out, whatever, and they're going to the dance, and he turns around, he tells Spider-Man, "I will kill you." Like, that moment, Michael Keaton is evil. Like, he's evil.
Good Lord. Good Lord. And you just like could feel yourself gripping the chair, I'm sure, watching it for the first time.
It was so good because he looks at him about to go on a dance floor with his daughter, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you." Like, that's what he's saying.
Yeah. You also have 80s kid from the 90s claiming Flash Thompson to be annoying. He's
I
played by
hate him.
Tony
Hate him.
Revolori in the MCU from the Grand Budapest Hotel. You hate him.
In this movie, as Flash Thompson, yes, I hate him. I hate him.
Yeah.
Give me Joe Menelo from the original Raimi trilogy. That's my Flash.
Well, I mean, like, again, it's like you look at him next to Tom Holland and you're like, this guy's Flash Thompson? Really?
Yes.
Like, hold on. Time out. Why on earth would Flash Thompson be smaller than Peter Parker? Like, without the Spidey suit, Flash Thompson should be able to kick Peter's ass. But not in this movie. Not in this movie. You know, Tom Holland is already jacked out the gills. But in any regard, do you want to reveal what your number 6 is? Do you feel a little bit more comfortable?
Well, people, I bet if anyone's keeping count, I have not said it yet, but here I go. My number 6 will be Spider-Man 3, the 2007 Raimi movie. Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi. It's my number 6, but yes, I am one of those people. I like Spider-Man 3 more than others, and to me, my biggest defense is the same thing with Kingdom of Crystal Skull, which I've come to more appreciate. Same with Spider-Man 3. Because I say this, you watch Spider-Man 3, in my opinion, there is very good scenes, there's bad moments, and a bad casting. And it's definitely the weakest of the trilogy. But man, oh man, Spider-Man 3 is such a darker turn from the first Raimi movies that in the end, I just appreciate how different it's trying to be. But then again, you get
give mother something. Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna say it. I think the scene where he is in the club dancing around trying to embarrass Mary Jane, to me, I'm gonna say it. I'm saying it, internet. That scene is more cringy than him dancing on the sidewalk.
It is. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that him dancing on the sidewalk isn't cringy at all. And the fact that he's hitting on the other fellow reporter isn't cringy at all. The fact that he has like Peter Parker emo bangs, not cringy at all. This is something else to the suit. That's totally cringy. You know, like I think this is the same screenwriting team from the original movie. I need to look.
While you look it up, I'm gonna talk more about why I like the movie.
Please.
First things first, Sandman, the villain, is good in this movie, and his introduction of how he becomes Sandman is a beautiful villain origin story.
Yes.
There's no sound except for music, which I'm pretty sure is Danny Elfman, I believe. And it's him forming into Sandman, and he tries to grab his daughter's necklace, but he can't because he's sand. And just it is a beautiful moment. It's
beautiful moment in time, that's for sure. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's the same team, but it just feels to me like all these people, all these executives, all these screenwriters, the director, they all had different ideas. They were trying to throw stuff at the wall to see what would stick. So it's I will give it credit in that it's a super ambitious movie. Like, all the ideas that are in there are really freaking dope. But the fact that they're trying to do every single one of them at once, like, I wouldn't have minded them waiting to do the Venom symbiote story until the 4th Raimi movie. Like, that would have probably been ideal. If they just focused it on Spider-Man versus the Sandman, like... Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, hell, just focus it on Spider-Man versus Harry. That was the story going out of Spider-Man 2. The fact that Harry found out that Peter is Spider-Man. Make that the story. Make that a tragedy centered around Harry. But the fact that he's got amnesia now, and
I hate it. Like, See, that's where this extra baggage comes in, and honestly, it all goes with Mary Jane. And let me just say this: it's not because she's a fucking woman. Let me just say that before any of you people, you people cancel me. No, Mary Jane in this movie, she gets kicked out of her play. She starts to fall in love with Harry because Spider-Man kissed Gwen Stacy, and he wants to marry her, and like that entire subplot is just not interesting. But then they add, by the way, Uncle Ben was killed by Sandman, which I hate. I'm sorry. It adds a little heart factor at the very end when he says goodbye to Sandman and he says, I apologize for what I did. But to me, that little storyline means nothing. It means nothing.
It was just an attempt to make the feud a bit more personal. But the
It
fact is, they already revealed who the killer was, so it just comes off more like a plot hole than an attempt to make a feud personal. You know what I mean?
And with any franchise, I hate when franchises go back and try to retcon stuff. Like they try to mess with it. I'm like, just leave it alone. Like we don't
Yeah.
need just go with it. But either way, Spider-Man 3, I will say it is a good movie, but it has issues. I'll say I think it's a good movie. I just think it has
Yeah.
issues.
It is one of the most polarizing movies of all time for more reasons than one. And that's people are still talking about it to this very day, 16 years later, including us two nerds on this very podcast,
16 years.
Yep.
Dude, I remember
16
being
years.
so hyped for that movie when it was coming out as a kid.
Mhm.
I was hyped. I was
Bro.
so excited.
I was 10 years old when I saw this in the movie theater for the first time.
I think it came out in June it was June or July. It was a summer movie, I bet.
2007, yep.
2007. So I was 7. I was 7.
Oh,
I was first grade.
Yeah, I was just about 2007. I think I was just about to go into because I'm going to be 27 at the end of the year. That's too much math for me. But anyway, we were both young. We were both young.
Let's hear yours.
Far From Home. Far From Home. The reason why I like this movie more than Homecoming is, well, I mean, there's a lot of things. I think Mysterio is a more interesting villain. I think if you look at like the whole product and his evolution into turning into a villain, Michael Keaton comes off way more generic. Mysterio's a lot more of a trickster, and he comes off more like a magician. And I dig that. I dig that so much. And the fact that like there's so much trippy stuff happening. It's yeah. So we lost Jacob for a second, but I'm just gonna go ahead and keep talking. He is going to come back. Hold on a second, viewers, but I'm just gonna keep talking about Far From Home with you guys real quick because I know you guys are all shocked as hell sitting there. 80s kid from the 90s is sitting here saying, "What? I know. I like Far From Home more than Homecoming. I'm sorry. I think the action is a lot better. Well, maybe not a lot better, but I just think the story overall is a lot more compelling. I think the feud between hero and villain is more compelling. As shocking as the Vulture twist was, like the Mysterio twist, it's a better long-term story, and you get a better story arc, I think. Plus the effects of Mysterio and his tricks around Spider-Man and the mind-bending stuff that he's doing to him to mess with his head, the mind games that he's playing with him. So freaking trippy. Something I'd wanted to see in a Spider-Man movie for years up to that point. This is the year before the pandemic when Far From Home came out. And that was the final Marvel movie to come out before the pandemic. So I'm sure I think a lot of people like me hold Far From Home in higher regard because it was the most recent Marvel movie when we were holed up in our houses and we had like, oh, this is like the newest Marvel movie we can ever watch. Oh my God, but really good movie, I thought. Maybe not, obviously not going to be the best one, but mind-blowing end credit scene. Yes, I agree. And that leads into the No Way Home plot line there. That like it bleeds directly into it with J. Jonah Jameson coming back once again, played by J.K. Simmons, as he is in all universes. It should only be played by J.K. Simmons. He is the only guy allowed to play J. Jonah Jameson. I don't know what else you want me to say in that regard, but he basically goes on and he reveals the Mysterio viral video package. The Daily Bugle is like a tabloid website in this universe, which is a really neat idea. If you really think about it, J. Jonah Jameson was kind of like, I don't know his backstory in this universe, obviously, but just thinking about where he could have gone, the fact that he might have been shunned from whatever newspaper he was working for, the fact that he created this tabloid website. Really, really awesome. Oh, Luke, coincidentally, also your number 6 is No Way Home. Really, really great. Yeah. I know a lot of people are shocked, but again, this is just how I feel. This is just how I feel. Is there a Marvel movie releasing next year? I am loading internet back on. You got this. Yeah. So Jacob is having some technical difficulties. I'm just going to look at the chat real quick. Is there a Marvel movie releasing next year? I'm more excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse. So I think I've been hearing rumors that Beyond the Spider-Verse might be getting delayed a little bit, which sucks because you had the cliffhanger there. Like at the end of Across the Spider-Verse, I wanted to turn on Beyond right there. I'm sure I'm there with a lot of you guys, and I'm sure you guys all share the same sentiment. But I think next year what we have is God. You gotta remind me here. In order after the Marvels, you have Deadpool 3, which I'm super pumped about. I'm excited to see Hugh Jackman come back. Really curious to see what he can do in the MCU. Even more curious to see what Ryan Reynolds does in the MCU as Deadpool with a rated R feature there. Sean Levy is coming in to direct the movie. He's directed Ryan Reynolds in a few things like Free Guy. So obviously they're going to have that connection. And I think it's going to be really solid overall. After that, you have Captain America 4 with Anthony Mackie returning. Harrison Ford, I believe, is playing our villain in that one, which, good Lord, Harrison Ford playing a villain. Like, this is a guy who feels like he's done it all. Absolute legend in this industry. But I don't recall him ever playing a villainous character. Please remind me in the chat if he has or hasn't. But if my memory serves me right, I don't think Harrison Ford has ever played a villain in his career. So this should be a change with Brave New World. And then after that, you have Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts was supposed to come out in July of next year. They have delayed that to Christmas time of next year since they needed a little bit more time to give us Avatar 3, which I'm sure everybody's going to say is the best movie of 2025 before it even comes out. I'm just, yeah, it's, I hate to break it to you guys. Avatar: The Way of Water is not the best movie of last year. What are your thoughts on the evil Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3? I mean, this is like Jacob and I were talking a little bit about this. I just can't help but chuckle every time I see the stupid emo Peter and everything like that. It's just, ugh. The villain is Samuel Stearns from Incredible Hulk. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I know Harrison Ford is playing a variation of Red Hulk, if my memory serves me right. Either that or he's taking over as Thaddeus Ross after the actor had passed away. I think that's what happened. I heard they shut down production on Cap. I'm not sure. No, I actually think that production has completely wrapped up by this point. Let's see. Let's add Jacob back here. And he's...
I cannot wait to watch the replay. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hear me. You can hear me.
Thunder struck the sky and just... I was like...
Oh, okay. Yeah, you froze up. Yeah, but I was just talking to them about Far From Home, and I was telling them about how trippy everything was. And that's why I really dig it. So, writer's strike, man. Yeah, though I was talking to them about Brave New World, and someone thinks they shut down production because of the writer's strike, but I actually think they wrapped up production on that recently. So I think that one's safe, and I think it's in the clear.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Pay your writers.
But yeah, Far From Home. Good movie, I thought. But the big thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and I wanted to wait until Jacob came back to say this movie feels very much more focused on Peter, and it feels much more like his story, and it definitely feels more like a coming of age story when you compare it to Homecoming.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying.
So
Ryan,
like I said, the first half to me, I didn't care for. Like, I thought it was cringy. So, but I can understand the aspect of like a growing up, him trying to like ask Zendaya out, like all that kind of stuff. Like, I can get it, but I just didn't like that. But I understand if you did. I get it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was cute. I thought their chemistry together was cute. I think they're dating in real life also, if my memory serves me right.
Oh, very much so. They are like a hot couple, him and Zendaya.
Nice. Ryan just said you got sent to the Spider-Verse, by the way.
Well, I hope I have spider powers, Ryan. Damn it.
Yeah, unless he's the Spot.
Oh no, man. I mean, it did become dark in this room. It did. So
I mean, yeah. Okay, so here we go. We are halfway home, Jacob. This was the tough part for me. The top half of this list. This was the really tough part.
oh, Zach, I'm guessing you want me to go first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I do.
Okay.
I went first last time.
Yeah, and I just got put into the Spider-Verse, but that one's not my number 5. Okay. My number 5 favorite Spider-Man movie in the live action realm, including animation, whatever. Number 5 is Spider-Man No Way Home.
No. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
So, this movie is amazing. Let me just go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
So, like 5 through 1, I love, man. I gotta say, I love. And Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, Zach, the time frame before that movie came out, everyone was talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was like, are they in it? Are they in it? And let me just say, because this movie's amazing. There's so much good I could say. I'm gonna go ahead and say my one issue, and it's to a thing to where I just don't see it. I find the spell kind of dumb. I find it for
Okay.
the reason why Spider-Man wants Doctor Strange to mess with time is so his friends could go to college. Now, they do a great job with like them opening the envelopes and they don't get in because of him. That is a great moment. I just don't like that the spell is that. Besides that, this movie has amazing fan service. It has William Dafoe coming back as Goblin, who is amazing. It incorporates so much Spider-Man lore into one movie so well.
Mm-hmm.
And my God, I mean, I was on your live stream back in 2019. Was it when it came out? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, whenever it came out.
No, this came out after the pandemic, bro.
After the pandemic. Okay, 2021. Sorry, the pandemic.
Yeah.
Man, it throws me for the loop. So let me just say, I remember when we did a spoiler talk, and when Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield showed up, my theater lost it. My friend Isaac, I went with him to go see it. He literally in my stories, when I say my friend literally grabbed me, Isaac, if you're listening, this man looked at me and said, "No way!" And like it just, those moments will never leave me. It's because of this movie. So I love this movie, but it is my number 5 favorite Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, so that Andrew and Toby entrance out of the portal scene, my friend Francisco had to calm me down watching that, just because I see Andrew walk through, everybody's losing it, and I watched it opening night first time, but all I could think was, give me Toby, give me Toby. And my friend had to calm me down, and when Toby showed up, I nearly relapsed in the chair. It was just, it was crazy, absolutely crazy. But yeah, so obviously you can tell by my reaction of Jacob's ranking of that, I have No Way Home much higher than he does.
that answered one of my questions by you saying that.
No Way
It's
Home
great,
is just awesome.
Zach. It's
Thank
a
you,
great
Luke.
movie.
I know it is. It's like, I love it. I love it like to no end. Absolutely, like that's everything I want in a Spider-Man movie right there. My whole audience went to an insanity when Toby walked out. Yeah, Luke lost it also. It took 3 movies for him to become Spider-Man. Yeesh. Yeah, you ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. Yeah, finally.
And let me just say, this has the best poster. I think that is the best poster.
I love it. I love it.
That is great.
So, yeah, I have all of the MCU Spider-Mans in the Steelbook form from Best Buy. That's No Way Home right there. That's the best one.
Which is perfect. Perfect for that.
Yeah. It's a perfect art right there. And I think it was a custom artist they brought in for all of those.
That's cool.
Okay. I mean, do I really need to say that this movie is my number 5? Do I really need to sit here and like take the hate from the audience now?
Man, I'm scared because if you say a movie that's higher than me, then I'm gonna be the one sending. I mean, well, there's already a one that you're gonna say, but you know.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Number 5 is Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh shit, Zach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh,
Again,
you okay?
different strokes for different folks. I love this movie. I think it's
Exactly.
absolutely incredible. You know, it's a movie that I saw the trailer for. And this is around the time when I had really soured on Sony as a studio, and I was like, you're not going to convince me to buy a ticket to an animated Spider-Man movie that's not canon right now. You know, like after you pissed me off so much with Spider-Man 3, with the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, with Venom, especially Venom,
Yes.
like I had lost all hope with this studio and this IP that they are strangling onto, just making sure they can squeeze every last drop of money out of. But then I sit down and I watch it, and that opening sequence, I was sold on it. I was sold on
Damn.
it, and I was riveted. I was riveted from scene one, and I love the animation. It's absolutely beautiful. It deserved to win the Oscar. Here's what's holding it back for me. All right.
Okay.
Why, Zach? Everybody in the comments, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. It's because I have seen this fucking mentor and protege storyline that he shares with Peter B. Parker in so many other movies other than this. Like, it just feels, I love it. I love the way they handled this cliche, but it's like, if you really think about it and you compare it to a lot of these other movies, it does feel very derivative, but it doesn't like, I mean, I know it doesn't depend on the fan service and all that good stuff. Why are you lifting weights?
The chat has gone crazy for your reaction, and I'm over here putting Spider-Man No Way Home at 5. So you know what? I'm just gonna listen to you and just keep hearing the facts while everyone just keeps throwing me and you in a fire right now. But you keep
Yeah.
going, my guy. You're doing great.
Yeah.
I'm defending you.
80s kid from the 90s says number 4 Into the Spider-Verse for him as he continues to shoot invisible webs from his makeshift web shooters there. Do I go full screen on this? Do I go full screen on this? Do it again.
Pow, 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 pow,
What are you doing?
That was me as a kid. That was me as a kid.
Ryan, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is like, again, I said that there was going to be Raimi bias on this podcast.
And
I
look
said
at us
that.
both.
I said that, didn't I? I said it, but what can you do? What can you do? The mentor thing is done so much better in Spider-Verse than the MCU. That's why I have it higher than Homecoming, my friend. That's why I have it higher. You know, and like all things considered, you know, it's done well in Homecoming, but again, it's like at least here, it doesn't feel like he's under Peter B. Parker's shadow. And it feels like, wait,
That's a great point.
This is a fat slob coming in and teaching me to be Spider-Man. What is going on here? You know, it's like, I love it. I love it. It definitely deserved to win Best Animated Feature, but
dude, it's changed the game of animation. I mean, you look at animation now, there are so many movies changing how they do animation because of this movie. Like it is a classic.
Like this one. Like this one.
Fucking,
like this one. Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it? There's, I mean, there's so many. Where can I find it? Where can I find it?
We're just gonna make comparisons.
Where is it? I can't find it.
Jacob Johnson, perfect casting. I definitely agree. Demon Slayer's
Mitchell's
animation is another one. Yeah, Mitchell's versus the Machines. That was made by the same studio. Miles and his dad's storyline, relatable as hell. Yep, yes. Absolutely. I do enjoy the prologue of this movie a little bit more than like other Spider-Man movies that we've gotten, obviously. I love that his uncle is kind of a criminal, and
he is a criminal.
Yeah, well, he is. Yeah, obviously, but Mutant Mayhem. Yeah, no, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Yeah, it looks a lot like Into the Spider-Verse, doesn't it?
The new Pixar movie coming out in November, like the art style, like it looks
There's a Pixar movie coming out in November.
It's not Pixar, it's Disney. I'm sorry. Everyone don't come at me. I'm
Oh,
sorry. It's
Wish?
Disney. Yes.
Oh, Wish. Yeah. No,
The
I didn't even.
animation looks different. So like, animators
Dang.
are taking chances.
If Disney is hopping on the Into the Spider-Verse style bandwagon, this is a good one. And let me also say for the record, again, if I could put all 5 of my top 5 in the number 1 slot, I absolutely would. Absolutely would. But that's not how a ranking works. And here I am making my own bed and I have to lie in it. I said this was my idea, Jacob. I invited you here and now we're just taking the brunt of it from the chat here. So, all right.
Both our number 5s were hits, and you know what's it's gonna get worse because now we got to keep moving up. We got to move on.
Believe it or not, it keeps getting worse. But I mean, and by that it means the quality in our minds is getting better. Okay, that's what we mean.
Oh shit, that actually got me. That was funny, Zach. You're a comedian. Oh yeah. Shit. It keeps getting worse. Just keeps getting worse. Also, let me say about Into the Spider-Verse one more thing, even though I'm going to talk about it in a few minutes. It has a great soundtrack. It's top 5 favorite soundtracks for me because it's so good. I mean, I literally have it on my phone. It's on my Spotify. I listen to it all the time.
There you go. Yep. All right, what you got?
Well, like I just said, my number 4, I was going to talk about in a few minutes, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay,
all right, cool. All right, number 4.
So, I don't have to talk about a lot because obviously Zach just did, but let me just say, I agree with Zach. When this movie was coming out, I had no hype. I was like, an animated Miles Morales Spider-Man. This is gonna flop. Who cares about this movie? And it literally, it changes. It changes just what animators can do. It changes what the Spider-Man character can be because we've only seen Peter Parker in these movies. And so finally they said, hey, we are going to make a completely different Spider-Man and it's going to be animated, which is a huge risk. So my number 4 is Into the Spider-Verse. It's almost a number 3. Man, I'm sorry.
He's getting blasted here.
He put it at 5, damn it.
Yeah, I did. No shame there. No shame. Yeah, I agree with a lot of your points for sure. But again, Sony managed to one-up themselves. And the crazy thing is, you said you went in with no hype and everybody was expecting it to bomb. But I feel like that plays a lot to Into the Spider-Verse's advantage because you look at the trailers and you're like, this movie can do nothing but surprise me if I go in and watch it. Because my expectations are so incredibly low that once inevitable sequels come around, like we're going to talk about, then the bar is going to be raised, and everybody's calling the animation revolutionary. And yeah, I like it. I like Kingpin as a villain. Kingpin, first time he was a Spider-Man villain too. So yeah, and Kingpin looks.
Schreiber. It was Leaf Schreiber, wasn't it him?
Yeah, that's who it was. Leaf Schreiber. Oh my god, I forgot that he voiced Kingpin. But yeah, no, I love that Kingpin was like this big, gigantic, like 900-pound block about as big as my bedroom. Like it's just super exaggerated, exactly like the comics. Dig it so much.
And it has my wife Haley Steinfeld. So
yeah.
I love Haley Steinfeld.
Who doesn't? I mean, clearly Josh Allen loves Haley Steinfeld right now. But,
I fucking hate you. I hate you. I should leave. I'm a Patriots fan. And you just said that.
The Bills go winless next season. It's not going to happen. Because the Bills are too good. But hey, I'm a Seahawks fan. I don't give a rat's ass about the Bills or the Patriots or how well they do. I just hope the 49ers suck. But anyway, this is not a division.
I'm sorry. What?
Oh, yeah. Ryan O'Toole is also a Patriots fan. Don't forget. The Nicolas Cage is Spider-Man Noir and John Mulaney is Spider-Man.
Yes, Nicolas Cage. I couldn't forget. Dude, he's so just perfect for that role.
Yes. Yeah. Nick Cage is perfect in every role.
He is.
Okay.
All right, Zach, it is your turn.
I hate doing this. I really, really, really hate this.
Damn, you're going through it.
I'm going to go with the original Spider-Man here. 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I love it. I absolutely love it. But you got to admit, for the time period, the action looked really cool. The reason why it's lower than my top 3 is because the action can look a little bit dated. You know, they're jumping around during the parade and they're jumping on the balloons and it looks like an arcade game. And I'm like, these effects look so dumb nowadays. But you know what? I love the fact that Sam Raimi actually went balls out with this one. I love the
Yes.
fact that this final fight, it felt like an Evil Dead movie. That's what I wanted. You know,
He
that's the
beats
kind
the
of
shit out of Spider-Man.
yeah. Spider-Man takes a
Blood,
freaking beating.
mask is ripped, got cuts. Like, I mean,
yeah. And the dialogue can be pretty stupid, but there's a lot of lines in the script by David Koepp that just like, this movie is so quotable. And again, if I could put this in my number 1 again, if I could just have a tie with these 5 Spider-Man movies, I would do that. But it's not an exciting video that way. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself. yeah. You know, it's lines like that. Willem Dafoe, fantastic villain.
ready.
I have in-depth reviews of all of these, so I don't know how like deep dive I'm gonna go into this, and we're just gonna talk about why they're on our list where they are. But that wrestling scene is no joke one of my most rewatched scenes of all time. Like I would rewind that VHS like to the beginning of the wrestling scene because I'm a wrestling fan mainly, mind you. I'm a wrestling fan. I dug it so much. And there have been wrestling podcasters that have actually made cameos of themselves reviewing the Spider-Man wrestling match as if it was like a real life WWE match that was happening before them. And they'd be like, and this Bonesaw, by the way, is it's a complete Macho Man ripoff. I mean, he's got the same gear, he's got the same shitty hair, you know, he's a really jacked up dude, same gravelly voice. You know, Randy Savage would hate this, and he's played by Randy Savage. You know, that's a joke. And later on, they would be like, Human Spider gets like a couple shots early, like he used his web and he shot up to the it's just so ridiculous when you but yeah, I'll send you that video after the stream, Jacob. It's fun. It's fun. But
Also,
Bruce
just want to say, since you pulled up a little cameo earlier in your Mission Impossible review for Aaron Paul, yes, I watched it. I'm gonna say Octavia Spencer in the original Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
she's the one that lets him in. She's like, God out in your soul. Next, that's her.
Yeah, chat, raise your hand if you forgot Octavia Spencer was in the original Spider-Man.
She's the one that gets him in.
That. Jameson, you slime. Yeah. Yeah, again, J.K. Simmons, nobody else could have played that part. That was something else I mentioned while you were out.
Perfect.
Get out of here.
Perfect.
Get out of here.
Perfect.
What do you think? I pay you by the hour?
No one can play that man. It's only him. J.K. Simmons, he's a great actor. I will always know him as J. Jonah Jameson.
Mm-hmm. Not known for Whiplash, not known for any of this other stuff he does.
Which he's great in, obviously, but I will know him for J. Jonah Jameson.
That's his magnum opus right there. That's the best. Oh, believe it or not, it keeps getting worse.
So, is it me or is it you?
I can go first. I can go first, mainly because this kind of leads me into a rant that I've been, doing on many podcasts lately. It is way too early, like a month after a release, to call a movie a masterpiece.
Oh, shit.
way too early to say it's a masterpiece. I would say at least give it a year. Like, that should be a rule. You cannot say in your reviews that a movie is a masterpiece until it's like a year out. Like, if you're reviewing a movie that's like 30 years old, yeah, sure. Call The Shawshank Redemption a masterpiece all you want. People have been watching that a bajillion times. But if you've only seen Across the Spider-Verse twice, which is my number 3, like, I can't say it's a masterpiece yet. I need a lot more viewings, but yeah, no, everybody's mad at me. Everybody's mad at me saying it's number 1. But again, different strokes for different folks. You know, I think it's perfect. I gave it my perfect A+ grade. But I think it's too early for me to say it's the best one. It really is. And I think with everything that's going on in this movie and the runtime, there's a lot of times where you can feel the runtime if you're like rewatching it, especially the second time around. I was like, you could have trimmed that down a little bit. I think the pacing could have been a little bit better, but I mean, in general, movie flies by, and it's staggering to look at. The animation is even better. The whole like Spider-Man headquarters. I read somewhere that it took a whole 4 years for the animators to finish that up. That's a whole high school career of a normal person. Like, how crazy is that? How crazy is that, Jacob? Like, crazy.
That's true. If that's true, I mean, if that's true, then Beyond the Spider-Verse is getting delayed.
Yeah.
Guys, it's not coming out in March. I'm stamping my prediction. It's not coming out in March.
Yeah, I'm not holding out hope. I'm not holding out hope. I actually had someone in the chat ask me if there were any Marvel movies coming out not named Beyond the Spider-Verse, and I named Deadpool 3, Captain America: Brave New World, and Thunderbolts. Those are the 3. I think we're getting Daredevil on Disney Plus next year. I think.
I have no idea.
I have to look that up. But anyway, Oscar Isaac, fantastic villain. Fantastic villain, Oscar Isaac also. Love that movie. But anyway, I ripped that Band-Aid off. I ripped it off.
Well, Zach, you can rip it. Oh, you're over here. You can rip it and just keep on ripping it because my number 3 is also Across the Spider-Verse.
See, it's too early. It's too early to say it's the best one, chat. I'm sorry. Way too early.
So, with that being said, obviously, if people out there are really paying attention, then yes, there is some Raimi bias, especially for me. So, let's just go into number 3, Across the Spider-Verse. First things first. I think truly this movie is so damn good. It probably will end up being a masterpiece. I agree with you, Zach. I don't like calling movie masterpieces. Like, I just don't. I don't even like the word. I like a great movie. I don't like the word masterpiece. If it's like Citizen Kane, Wizard of Oz, give it masterpiece. Godfather. But like, am I going to go tell you the first Avengers movie is a masterpiece? Hell no.
No. What are you going to say next? Like, I don't know. Like, Nope is a masterpiece? Of course not. I mean, it was my favorite movie of last year, but it's not a masterpiece. Avatar: The Way of Water, not a masterpiece.
No.
Sorry to break hearts in the chat, but
let me just say,
that just bugs me for so long.
Across the Spider-Verse, and this is where I'm going into minor spoilers. So anyone who's watching, minor spoilers if you've not seen the movie. My boy Isaac, if you're watching still, you can mute me. But here we go. The scene where we get to find out why Miles was not supposed to be Spider-Man was such a heartbreak. Knowing he is not supposed to be here. Because when you saw the trailer, you're like, it was like a big dramatic moment. You're like, he's not supposed to be here. Now that you see the movie and you see that spider came from another universe, bit you, and it just messed everything up. And now we have to make sure your father figure person needs to die. And the scene where he says, nah, that moment hit me just differently. Like, I was like, that is such a great character moment, because you had Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, who the opening 10 minutes with her story is so amazing.
Yeah.
But with the moment when she what I forget what she does. She shoots web at him and he breaks it off of her. Like that's his friend. He loved her. He's writing notes about her. But he has
drawing pictures of her.
But he has to throw her away to go save his dad. Like that like that character stuff in this movie is so good. But Zach, I'm with you. It's not a complete movie. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people.
It's not.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
not.
sorry.
Yeah. And Lindsay said it. Lindsay said it at the very end when I watched it the second time. She was like, that was rude. Because they marketed it as Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 initially. Now, thankfully, the advertisers took that subtitle out. And it's a little bit more of a, it's a little bit more friendly for my OCD to just have, those subtitles. When you split off a book like Deathly Hallows and make that Part 1 and Part 2, I'm cool with that. That's an exception. You can have Part 1 in there. But when it's like a completely original movie, why would you have Part 1 in the subtitle? You're just giving away that it's a cliffhanger. Why not just pull out the surprise? Why not just pull out the surprise factor? But I get the money. I get the monetary gain, but if it's an original concept in a franchise and you call one of your entries Part 1 and Part 2, like you take all the suspense out of the movie. And then suddenly you're just like, okay, what's the cliffhanger going to be? That's what I'm waiting for on this Mission Impossible movie. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm just waiting to see how it ends,
And just like I said, the movie's great. Like the movie is very good. It's top 3 favorite of the year for me. By the end of this year, it might be my favorite. Who knows? There's a whole year left. But for right now, for 23 years of my life, my top 2 have been movies that I can go to and watch. Number 3, I love it, but I need a year. I need 2 years. I need to see Beyond the Spider-Verse because it to me, my OCD. And people, I want to say this for people out there who want to compare Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. No. Avengers Infinity War is a cliffhanger, but they end it to where your heroes are dead. What's going to happen? Across the Spider-Verse, the tagline, "To be continued," pops up on screen.
Bingo. And to be fair, also, Avengers Infinity War, the Avengers are not the main characters. The main character in Avengers Infinity War is Thanos. That's his story. And once his story and his arc is complete, and once he's got what he wants, slam to black. And as shocking as it was, yeah, and as shocking as it was, as much as I stood up in the theater and was like, what? As much as I hated that, I wanted like a more conclusive finale, and the fact that he just killed half of humanity. Like I was hot. I was hot when Infinity War came out, but at the same time, it felt like a complete narrative.
Yes.
That's exactly, I 100% agree. Freaking Ryan, that's 4 months. You're grounded for 4 months. That part was funny. And let me also just say, for the record, despite everything we've just said, I love this movie. This is a perfect A+ movie for me. When I initially reviewed it, I was like, there's no other grade I can give this movie. They did everything just right. But when you compare it to the next 2 movies, it just doesn't feel like a complete movie, So that's all we're saying.
I'm agreeing with you. These next 2 movies are in my heart. So
As it is with me. But speaking of, it keeps getting worse.
You know what?
We're just gonna have.
I'm going first. I'm putting up the shields because you've already said this movie, so I'm gonna go ahead and just say it.
There it is.
My number 2 is the original 2002 Spider-Man. People, who I am today, a little bit of this movie is the reason why. I love this movie. Is it cheesy? Yeah. there's cheesy. You have Green Goblin looking like a Power Ranger, which whatever. Whatever. You have, to me, a perfect origin story for Spider-Man. And to me, the movie enjoys the fact of being a superhero movie. It has no connections to anything. This movie is a Spider-Man movie because Across the Spider-Verse, it's a movie that involves the multiverse. There's a lot of factors there. This movie is the prime example of just Spider-Man, the character of Spider-Man. And to me, it's never been done better in an origin story. And so, like I said, as a kid, man, dude, I used to climb on the walls. I used to, like, whenever the introduction happens of Danny Elfman's score and the opening, I was literally climbing on the wall. The scene where the fingertips of his become the spider, and like, and if you know me, I'm biased. I love the Evil Dead movie. Sam Raimi is a top 5, top 10 director for me. And he brought his style into a big budget Spider-Man movie. And nowadays you get studio made movies. And back in 2002, you saw a Sam Raimi movie, damn it.
You did. Now I have a follow-up question on just based on what you talked about. When you were climbing up the walls and when you were crawling like Spider-Man was, did you have that music in the background like dun dun
yes
dun?
Yes. Yes. Because you had to.
I mean, did you go on your rooftops and be like, "Go Web, fly"?
He does what is it? Does he do like a Shazam thing? Like he does something with Shazam, or he like someone says like it's like a little Easter egg. Sam Raimi did. He makes a hand gesture. Oh yeah, he does something. No, yeah, he says Shazam.
Go Web,
That's
go.
What he does. Yeah, go Web, go. And
I lose my shit every time. It's the funniest thing.
And literally, Zach, you stole my big thing about this movie. The fucking ending, man. I love it.
Such a good ending.
Dude.
Such a good ending.
He beats the shit out of him. And you don't see that nowadays. You don't see that. The hero gets
misery.
Hero gets blood. Hero gets a little blood right here. Maybe their mask falls off. No. In 2002, that man ripped his mask off, threw a bomb at his face, gets cut up. Hell, does anyone realize Spider-Man literally pulls down a brick wall and it crushes Green Goblin, and he rises up like a freaking zombie out of the like. You can't beat it, man.
Fantastic. It is fantastic. Absolutely. Peter, don't tell Harry, of course. Yeah, great James Franco performance. Also, early James Franco. I love the Thanksgiving dinner sequence more than a lot of other people do, just because you feel the tension, and it's like it's a perfect case of dramatic irony. It's like, oh, I think Norman's kind of figured out that Peter's behind this, but he's in so much denial. Like, it's so awesome.
And the color of their shirts, he's wearing green, he's wearing red, he's like their color of their shirts are like
it's inverted. It's inverted. Norman's wearing red and Peter's wearing green in that scene. Yeah. So it's just the attention to detail.
That's so good.
The attention to detail is awesome. And say what you want, but I think it's got a really bomb theme song. Hero by Nickelback.
Oh shit!
That's a blast from the past. And they say that a hero can save you.
I'm not gonna stand here and wait.
We're getting demonetized so hard. But I mean, listen, like anybody in the chat who's listening to this, anybody watching the replay, I don't care what you say. I don't mind Nickelback. I don't get the hate. I really don't get the hate.
Hey, Zach. Hey, look at me real quick. Hey, I'm with you. High five. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Nickelback is not awful. He's really not going to give me a high five, everybody, but okay. Go ahead. You're number 2, Zach.
My hands are full. Here, hold on.
Other way.
Shit. There we go.
There you go.
There we go. Oh, God, technology takes you a while to figure out.
So this
But
is
yeah,
where I don't know your two, and I'm wondering where you're gonna go with this because I know you have two left. So I'm just wondering where you're going.
I do have two left. I thought you would have guessed it based on my reaction
I
earlier
think
to your
I
five.
do. I think I do. So I'm ready for you to say number two, which I believe will be. Well, you know my number one now. So yeah,
Yeah.
this.
Do you want to just talk about your number one while I talk about my number two? Because you know what it is. It's going to be Spider-Man 2. It's going to be Spider-Man 2, man. I know. I'm disappointing the hell out of him right now.
No, you're not.
Listen, if I could put this Across the Spider-Verse and No Way Home all in a tie for number one, I would. I would. But this is the movie growing up. Anytime I needed a pick me up, anytime I needed, just fun in my life, this is a movie I would pop in. And this came out in a crazy summer for movies in 2004 because think about this. We got this movie, we got Shrek 2, and we got Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban all within the span of a month.
Holy shit.
Those are all classics. You have Shrek 2, one of the greatest comedies of all time. I will die on that hill. Spider-Man 2, one of the best Spider-Man movies of all time, one of the best superhero movies of all time. And you have my favorite Harry Potter movie, The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yes.
All within the span of a few weeks, and
damn.
This was my most viewed DVD for sure in our house. And a lot of it was like, I love the fact that Kirsten Dunst is Mary Jane Watson as a Broadway actress. I just love that. Like the fact that Peter is late to go and see her in a performance of Pride and Prejudice. I mean, I would just not buy a ticket. Pride and Prejudice is kind of boring, but you gotta freaking love Bruce Campbell's cameo in this one, don't you?
Shoelace. You might want to.
The silliness is kind of what gets me though. Who could forget that weird dude in the elevator when Spider-Man is in full gimmick and he walks in and he's like rides up in the crotch a little bit too. And I'm sitting here like, Raimi, how long are you gonna stay on this bloke? How long are you gonna stay on him and his reactions? I don't get it sometimes. But in all seriousness, joking aside, instant classic in every way. And pretty underrated villain too. Doc Ock, Alfred Molina. Whew! I want to talk about a tragic backstory. Just getting the power of the sun in the palm of his hands. It's a simple premise, but the fact that he's just blowing shit up and the fact that this is a scientific experiment gone wrong. This is the true essence of that, isn't it? This is the true essence of that. No, it's not, Ryan. No, it's not. Get out of here. No, it's not. It is not Jeremy Johns' brother, is it?
No.
Is it?
No.
Oh, man.
It can't be. Hold on. I gotta it's actually somebody. Like the person who playing him is actually somebody from movies.
Jason Entertainment, thank you for joining us, by the way. 2004 was an amazing year in movies. I also forgot about Collateral. It's a great film by Michael Mann. Great film. But why is Spider-Man 2 your number one? I'm assuming it's partially because of this 29-minute pizza delivery.
It is 100%. It is 100%.
Pizza time.
That reminds me, if I can find this picture real quick, because I'm gonna keep talking because I don't want this to be silent and awkward.
No, it's fine.
So Spider-Man 2 is my number one movie. And when Zach asked me about this ranking, I said to myself, it's my number one. To me, I know the movies we've gotten lately have been amazing with Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, whatever. No Way Home, which I now assume, don't want to say it, but obviously, yeah. So for me, when you asked me to do this, like I made this list backwards because my number one was like, it's Spider-Man 2. Zach said it. Spider-Man 2 is not just one of the greatest superhero movies. I argue it's top 2, that and The Dark Knight. I see this as one of my top 10, top 15 favorite movies of all time. Spider-Man 2 is so inspiring to me, especially like I just said with the first Spider-Man. Sam Raimi is one of my favorite directors, and someone said I love Raimi Spider-Man and Evil Dead, but I love Multiverse of Madness in the same way. So what you
Yeah.
said there, name another superhero movie where you see your supervillain have a horror scene where he murders doctors and
Yeah.
like fully chainsaw to the face. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't get that anywhere else. And don't even get me
That's
started. The train sequence in Spider-Man 2 is perfect.
I
It's
mean,
perfect.
I think we're preaching to the choir when we talk about that train scene, but it's just so freaking epic. That's
And
the best way to describe it. Epic.
I found the picture and I have proof. I went to New York in April and one of my goals was to go to Joe's Pizza because that is where they filmed the original Spider-Man.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, that whole opening sequence. Oh, good lord. Like I feel like no, when I shot my review for Spider-Man 2 a couple of years ago in the build up to my number 1, which is No Way Home, and we'll talk about it. I legitimately, no joke, this was not, this was not planned or anything. I had gotten mod pizza that day, and I was sitting there and I was like, this cold open needs a pizza joke in here, doesn't it? Like that's all people can like 2004, like if you were growing up like me, it was like Spider-Man and it was like pizza. Those were the two popular things because pizza is my favorite food, right? And I'm just sitting here like there has to be a pizza joke in here somewhere. But you're late, man. Always late. Yeah, yeah, you are late. 80 kids in the night. Yeah, yeah. I'm late like I was today, but yeah, it was Spider-Man 2. Honestly, if I could again, if I could make a three-way tie for number 1, this would be in there. It's one
I
of the most
say
influ
it is my favorite. Like again, like I said, it just when you asked me, I knew it. Like I was like, all right, Spider-Man 2 is my number 1. Even with Across the Spider-Verse, which how great it is, and No Way Home, which obviously you're about to talk about. But man, Spider-Man 2, it hits different for me. I can watch that movie right now. I could play it right now and just watch the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'd be riveted from scene 1. I'd also like the lady in the street singing the Spider-Man song on the violin.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man. As he's sitting there watching her, and he's like,
Yeah, yeah. So you go from Nickelback to random lady in the street singing the Spider-Man song. Perfect. Yeah, no, great transition. Yeah, pizza is the best, Luke. As long as you don't put pineapple on it, then it's fine. Anyhow, yeah, No Way Home is my favorite, gang. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint anybody. I'm
don't
sorry to
be
disappoint
sorry.
Jacob. Yeah, but to me, as someone who grew up with Spider-Man 2 as like one of his favorite movies and with the Raimi trilogy and the disappointment of the Garfield trilogy, this to me is a celebration of a lot of things I love about my childhood. And the reason why it's my number 1, in a sense, it made me feel like a kid again. And the MCU is what really, say what you will about the MCU now, but they're the ones that made me feel this way. And it is just unbelievable that we could get a movie like this where 3 different actors who have played the same character all come together. And again, it's not until the third act that this happens, but the marketing for this movie was absolutely brilliant as well. Sony and Marvel were very smart to not give away the surprises of the fellow Spider-Men. Like, because if it were like under the Batman v Superman syndrome, the final climax would have been, oh, yeah, it would have been on Washington Bridge and he would have been encountering Doc Ock. And that would be a cliffhanger, because, yeah, then Aunt May would be killed on the bridge. Like, yeah, I'm so glad they didn't do that. I'm so glad that they did not give away any surprises. And this movie's chock full of them. This is a movie that my friends had to keep me calm for while I was watching. Even freaking Daredevil showing up for his cameo. I audibly out loud was like, no way, in the theater when it was dead quiet. There were not a lot of people who had watched the Daredevil show in the audience that night, egregiously. And I got a chuckle. I got a chuckle from people, but I was like, this is fucking Daredevil, guys. This is Daredevil. What?
My mom didn't know who he was. She was like, "Who is that?" I was like, "She didn't watch the show. She didn't watch the Netflix show." So she was like, "Who is that?" I was like, "That's Daredevil."
Sure is Daredevil, isn't it? And he's finally getting a show next year, a rebooted show. Um, and the emotional beats. This is something that I had been waiting for the Tom Holland Spider-Man to achieve for a while, because I'd been rooting for him since he showed up in Civil War. I really had been. Um, this is where the tone of Tom Holland's Spider-Man was finally complete. And this is where it happened. The fact that Aunt May was the one who delivered the great power comes great responsibility line. It's a nice little twist. I loved Willem Dafoe practically being your main villain here. And I love the fact that the people from the Mark Webb movies, they all got redeemed. They all got their redemption here. Jamie Foxx looked so much better in this movie. He was so funny. Even the lizard, who we talked about as like, this like really silly gimmick from the first Mark Webb film, turning all of New York into lizard creatures. He's treated like he's like this. I don't want to say like a King Shark ripoff, but like it's about on the same comedy level as a King Shark stereotype. But I love it. I love Doc Ock's transformation into a good guy. I love the fact that, you have Toby, Andrew, and Tom talking about the fact that Toby has back problems. And it's like, it's just stuff that I never thought I would be seeing. And like, yeah, some of the dialogue might be a little bit hammy and forced in with Toby calling Andrew, "You're amazing. You're amazing.
I loved
Don't
it.
let anybody tell you different." This is fan service at its best. Say what you want about fan service, but it gave me exactly what I wanted. Gave me exactly everything I wanted. Ryan O'Toole says, "Zach, I'm a really good lawyer. Really good lawyer." This movie made me sob in the theater. I wanted to sob. Are those your Legos? Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Is that me or is that Jacob, 80s kid?
Is that a reference or is there a Lego? I mean,
Are
I
those
have a
your
Lego.
Legos?
I have a Lego.
Yeah. I don't have any Legos. I just have pop figures behind me. I have Gaston right here. I'm sure you can see Thor just chilling here. But yeah, there's a Lego.
I have a Lego. I have a Mogwai. I have a Clemson helmet.
Everything is awesome.
I got post. That's my only pop. I have
Electro. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, he was making a reference. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm an idiot. But
yeah,
I'm an idiot. Electro did say it. Thank you for reminding me. But this movie,
we're both over here looking for Legos. We're like, we have Legos.
It's Sunday night. 4th of July is on Tuesday. I'm kind of delirious right now. I've had a long morning. It's been an awesome stream, but it's just like, it's a matter of me composing myself. But yeah, No Way Home is my favorite. I'm sorry to disappoint anybody in the chat, but that's just how I freaking feel.
You don't have to be sorry. That is your opinion. Yeah. You love that movie, and you are allowed to love that movie.
I mean, that's your opinion, man.
Now we want to talk about other movies. I'll talk about Big Lebowski now.
Yeah. No, I might be reviewing that for its 25th anniversary this year. Just a teeny little announcement from me, but
nice. And to guys, anyone out there that doesn't want to say I don't love Across the Spider-Verse, it's literally my screensaver.
Yeah. Anybody out there who wants to say that I just wanted to bash Across the Spider-Verse and that's the whole reason I did this stream, it was number 3 on my list. And if I wanted to make a 3-way tie for number 1, I would have. But that's not how rankings on YouTube work. But anyhow, this has been such a fun stream, Jacob. 10 Spider-Man movies in all. They've all been a lot of fun, at least. I don't know what I can say much about the Mark Webb movies, but my friend, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me at Jacob Hubbard on YouTube, where I will be probably sleeping for the next few days. I actually just posted like a couple hours before we started this live stream. I posted my review of Joyride. Everyone should go see Joyride. Let me go ahead and say that. Zach, I know you might go. Dude, it is hilarious. I cried laughing. I have not done that in a movie theater in a long time. You know what? I don't want to hype you up because I hate doing that when I hype someone up and then they go in, they're like, okay, this is going to be great. And then you hate it. So like, you know what? For me, I loved it. Anyways, you can find me on Twitter at Jacob_Hubby. I think it's 99. I don't even know my own Twitter handle. But either way, You can go find me on YouTube where I do movie reviews and I like doing them. So you should come over. I am almost halfway to 1,700. So yeah.
Heck yeah. Go show him that support. He just put out a whole ass Blu-ray collection as well.
Oh God, yeah, that
That's a great
movie.
video. It was a great video. I will be putting out my own Blu-ray collection at the start of August, so everybody stay tuned for that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm gonna lose my freaking mind doing that video. But in any case, I do it for all of you guys. It's going to be so much fun. I am halfway through my Mission Impossible playlist. I just put out Mission Impossible 3 for you guys. I can't
Perfect
wait to
review.
can't wait to rewatch Ghost Protocol. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. But yeah, all those in the build up to MI7. I have not had a chance yet to see Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. That's something that I want to watch and review for you guys. Joyride, yeah, that's coming out next week, isn't it? On the 7th?
Comes out Friday.
Okay, yeah. So Joyride is on there. There's another Insidious movie out there, which I'm sure nobody has heard about.
Oh my God, I keep forgetting about that movie.
Yeah, there's another Insidious movie out there. We got Barbie and Oppenheimer coming out the same day, and it's gonna be, yeah, we're getting spoiled. We're getting spoiled, gang. I think July is gonna be a really, really good month if you're a movie lover. So if you love all things movies, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Jacob Hubbard's channel. We would both much appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up. Also, I hope you guys enjoyed the watch. I hope you guys enjoyed the listen. And yeah, keep loving each other, keep loving the movies, and take care. See you guys on the next one.